All right, what's up, fam? Kyle Henderson coming to you from Bryant-Denny Stadium. This is the post-game wrap. I appreciate you guys being here, sticking with me late night. Alabama defeats LSU by a score of 42-28 in a game where Jalen Milroe used his legs. I think we were talking about when would that happen at some point in the season, and this was the game. 20 carries for 155 net yards, 4 touchdowns. It was a school record in terms of rushing touchdowns for a quarterback at the University of Alabama. In fact, if he would have ran for another touchdown, it's 5 rushing touchdowns, he would have been the only quarterback in college football history to achieve that feat, which is pretty crazy to think about. Jace McClellan also had a good night rushing the football. 20 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. And then Roydell Williams, how about the play of him and how hard that he ran as well on only 6 carries for 56 yards for a net 56 yards with a touchdown and an average of 9.3 yards per carry. By the way, Jalen Milroe had 7.8 yards per carry. It was the most yards that he's ran for in his young career. I tweeted this out earlier in the night. Jalen Milroe, Kendrick Law, Isaiah Bonds, and Kobe Prentice. What do they all have in common? They're all sophomores. Pretty impressive when you think about those type of weapons. And receiving-wise, Isaiah Bond, he was targeted 7 times on the night, came up with 5 receptions for 60 yards. And I posted a clip on YouTube Shorts, which you can go watch. So Isaiah Bond is at the front of the line when LSU is coming out of the tunnel. And he's just jawing with the guys. I mean, the guy has a dog mentality. And they're kind of pushing and shoving, and I like that. I mean, these wide receivers are growing up, and it's good to see those sophomores continue to be productive. Kendrick Law had 2 receptions for 25 yards, and how great does he look running the football? He runs great north and south, and I love him returning kicks. It seems like he's just 1 tackle away from taking one to the house. You also had Jam Miller, who had a reception for 35 yards, and Jace McClellan a reception for 42 yards. So, and these were some great plays by Jalen Milroe, being able to dump off the football to the running backs. I thought those running backs were in the right place, right time. Jalen Milroe dumps the ball off to these guys, and they get some big yardage after the catch. Kobe Prentice, 1 reception for 22 yards, and then C.J. Dupree, 1 reception for 11 yards. Didn't see too much production from Jermaine Burton tonight, only 3 receptions for 29 yards. Kind of, before we get to the defensive side of the ball, it was really interesting, and I mean, look, even Superman has an off night, but Will Reichard on the night missed 2 field goals. He was perfect up to this point in the season, was flawless, really, in all aspects of his game. Tonight, he misses 2 field goals, one from, 47 and one from 43 yards out. Off night for Superman. It was the first field goal that he's missed since the Tennessee game in 2022. So off night for Will Reichard, but we still love Superman overall. On the flip side, we'll talk about, before we get to the defensive stats, let's look at the offensive stats for LSU. Look, Jane Daniels is an absolute baller, and clearly with him going down in the 4th quarter, I think by that time when Dallas Turner fell on him and he exited the game with concussion protocol, Alabama had already taken the momentum. It was already 42-28. But the way that the game was moving, you got to think that, LSU maybe tacks one more on the board or whatever. I didn't think that they would score 4 touchdowns. I think I vastly underrated. That offense is dynamic. I mean, Jane Daniels is an absolute baller. He had 163 yards rushing on the night. That's crazy because Jalen Milroe had 155. So, I mean, these quarterbacks were running all over the field. 15 or 24, 119 yards. 2 touchdowns, did have the interception that was a tipped pass, and then Terrion Arnold comes up with the ball. I thought that was kind of a turning point. Check this out. Malik Neighbors, he was targeted 17 times on the night. 17 times. He had 10 receptions for 171 yards with a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. was only targeted 5 times, came up with 36 yards on the night. That's crazy. 17 targets on the night. When you look at the defensive statistics, appreciate you guys sticking with me. Alabama, true freshman, once again probably happened every time this season. Caleb Downs, who's just a freshman, had 13 total tackles on the night. 13 tackles as just a true freshman. He's clearly an All-American. He's one of the best safeties in the country, and it's amazing because he is only just a freshman. Now, Alabama did get beat over the top by Malik Neighbors. That was earlier in the first quarter on a great pass, a great catch by LSU. And Coach Saban said coming into this game that this was going to be a heavyweight fight. 1,000,000% it was. And that LSU was going to get theirs, and Alabama was going to get theirs. LSU did, 100%. You know who played really great is Justin Ebogbe. Justin Ebogbe played fantastic. 6 tackles on the night, 1 tackle for a loss. And let's see, Terran Arnold had 2 pass breakups. Thought the secondary played well, considering they're going against this incredible offense tonight. I thought they held their own. Malachi Moore, thought he played really well. And, I mean, just overall, I mean, what could you do against LSU's defense, a team that was scoring, 47 points per game? Coming in, Alabama holds them 28. The second half adjustments, I think we saw that again. And then add on to the fact that Jaden Daniels didn't play, from the fourth quarter at the 12-minute mark on. Going forward, Alabama has Kentucky, Chattanooga, and Auburn. And I asked Jalen Milroe, as you saw in the press conference, do you think this team is battle-tested? He was also asked about kind of the length, let a naysayer know, and if there's any more naysayers out there about this Alabama team. And I asked that because we're starting to talk about the playoffs and where Alabama sits kind of in that playoff fold. And I know it's a one-game mentality, but when you look to Alabama's schedule of strength, this team is battle-tested. Texas, Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin and his offensive potency. They went against Texas A&M and those elite wide receivers. Tennessee's outstanding quarterback and their wide receivers. And then tonight, this defense goes up against LSU and comes out with a W. I like this team from the resiliency standpoint. We've seen so much growth. I don't think we've ever seen so much growth from an Alabama team since I've been covering the team, honestly. This was a great win for Coach Saban. And I think that the playoff committee is certainly starting to look at Alabama more than they were last week. This was a marquee win, and a lot of the teams kind of in that upper echelon, they don't have those marquee wins. I think Ohio State, they were down to Rutgers today, 9-7, able to come out on top. They have the win over Penn State and Notre Dame. They're a good team, but I think there's so much parity. I know Michigan, kind of with all the stuff going on with them, but the committee's job is to rank them as a team. That's what they said, and they are undefeated. You look to Florida State, another win for those guys today. Their quarterback, Jordan Travis, is a great quarterback, and Florida State beat this LSU team tonight as well. I think that was the first game of the season, right? 45-27 or something like that. So it does show, kind of from a scoring comparison. But with that said, I've been hard on Florida State all season long. I just think that their schedule of strength doesn't match up to Alabama's. I don't know. What the final was between Washington and USC. I know that game was hyped throughout, but Washington has that electric offense. Michael Penix is a wonderful quarterback, and Oregon comes up with another big win. So what we know is that there's 8 quality teams. There's a lot of parity. Alabama is certainly capable to continue to win. It has to be a one-game season. You can't let this game against Kentucky be a trap game, or even the Chattanooga, or even that Auburn game. I know Auburn is struggling, but we all know about that Iron Bowl and how things can go sideways no matter what the schedules are, no matter what the rankings are. It's a one-game season. Alabama continues to win. That's the most important thing. With Ole Miss winning tonight, I still believe that Alabama has to win, and Georgia has to beat Ole Miss in terms of Alabama winning the West. But this was a big step forward for Alabama to achieve another goal, which is winning the SEC West and matching up with likely Georgia in the SEC championship game. I really appreciate you guys being here, sticking with me on Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I will catch you guys tomorrow on my call-in show, coming to you from beautiful Bryant-Denny Stadium. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube.